Yeah, I'm at 40 Anderson Street in Dayton, Ohio, doing a sanitary lateral inspection for the purchase of a home. We're looking for any structural issues, root intrusion, anything that would be concerning for the buyer. Our access here is the like a main stack here. You can see the rear center of the basement. You have the main stack coming down, and there's also another one here, right next to it. And so we are going to go down to the top of this. It's kind of an offset clean out here. So hopefully you'll be able to, looks like this is going straight over underneath the other stack to the left. This is cast iron right through here. I don't believe there's any water on, and so we may have to push all the way out. And then take a look on the way back. The camera lens is only like half an inch off the bottom of the pipe, so this is not a lot of water here. But with the water being off, we have a little bit of buildup here. See if I can get it to move so that that water drops out. I don't know if this is something that will see if we can get it to push out without the water on. I like to be able to flush the line out a little bit. There you go. You can see the water level dropping. So it's probably stuff built up in the line because somebody flushed something, and then after the it got sat there and no other water could flush through it, so that's something here. Have to go back, that's about 23 feet, we'll go all the way out. And I poked through something. Probably some root intrusion maybe. So we'll hold this here, see how far out. I mean, we are right on the edge of the, you're right on the edge of the house, and it looks like it's going out the left. If you're facing the house, it looks like it's going out the left side. You can see all this root intrusion. Then we have a section that's been replaced with PVC. So I would say that spot that I poked through is root intrusion. There's a lot here too. It's like the line's going out the left-hand side. So root intrusion, it's very, very common in clay lines. Just hope we can get this kind of rinsed off. See all the root intrusion. It looks like it's all getting in. I think we're actually at the main already. Looks like we're dropping into the main right now. I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to go check this. See if I can find out where this is. I believe it just went out the left side of the house, if you're facing the house, from Anderson, and then it goes out to that side street. That's what it looks like. Looks like the side street is Cradachville Street, but it looks like the house is facing Anderson. And so it comes out the left side, and then it's the way the street is angled, it's not far from the main, which is good, but there is some root intrusion. It's not, obviously, it's not the worst thing as far as, it's not catastrophic in most cases. This is all just some root intrusion from some trees nearby, in a way that the
the way the clay is assembled, there are like male and female like hubs, and so when they're put together, especially back then, they would have probably used either a tar packing or maybe a concrete, but most of the time, or a cement, I should say. But back then it was probably like a tar. Can't think of the terminology right now. But the what happens is it kind of shrinks up over time, and so the pipe itself can be in good shape or structurally sound, but at the hubs they're allowing in some finger roots just because of some little gaps and stuff like that in the connection. Usually cleaning, maintenance is a good thing. You can do a cleaning and clean out all the roots, and then maybe put a chemical in about once a year to keep it down, keep the roots from growing. Basically we just burn the roots back without killing the tree, but they will continue to come back as long as the tree is present. So right now, again, like I mentioned, I'm going to pause the video here. We're going to go locate exactly where this is to make sure that we are at the sewer main in the street, and then we'll come back and finish up the inspection. Okay, so this is left side of the house, goes out into the street. It comes out the back left corner. You can see where the water line comes in. The sewer line goes out just underneath it. So basically what it looks to me like, the line is in pretty good structural condition. But because of the root intrusion, you're going to need to have this cleaned, and then take another look at that. But I believe it's about 45 feet to the main, which is a very short run. But there's also an old stump out there on the left side, and maybe that's it, but it looks too old for these roots to still be alive. But you have a couple trees around the street, meaning, or referring to there's one across the street that may be big enough to reach over here. There's also a small tree on the back left corner, and that may be what's contributing here. But it does look, and we'll take a look at it as we pull back, but pretty much along the entire length here, I'd like to be able to, there's still some water trickling through here because I've kind of opened it up a little bit with the camera. But they look like, here is a connection. It's about 43 feet, and it kind of looks like, not kind of, it does look like they're getting in at these connections, which is, like I said, a pretty normal occurrence. But in most of these cases, you just need to, if you do some maintenance on it, it stays, it's pretty easy to maintain. It's just like anything else in an old house. It just needs a little bit of maintenance and some attention. I would suggest basically a cleaning to begin with. Maybe a re-inspection after the cleaning. Here is a lot of it here at 32 feet, and about 32 to 33 feet. It is another connection, but these are pretty heavy. So basically, you have good, like I said, I don't see any broken pipe. I mean, usually when they do a cleaning, they'll be able to go back through it with the camera once the cleaning is done, and be able to tell if there's any issues. Okay, you can see in here, this is another pretty heavy spot here.
It's right around 26 feet, 27 feet. So, see, this is again another connection. These connections in these old clay lines are only like 3 feet apart, so it's pretty common. See, now I have some real resistance right through here. You can see all the root intrusion. This is the only one, this is not the only one, but this is the one that I would be worried about there being, some form of, you can see the buildup behind it. So that's right at 23 feet. And that's the one that I would worry about the most as far as it backing up right now. This is where it was holding all that water, and I'm getting the most resistance. And so if you just want to make sure in this area, it doesn't look like it's at a connection, but you want to make sure there's no structural damage in this area. You can see how the water drained down. This was all full of water, and we're back in the cast iron, I believe. Kind of hard to tell because of how rough it is. But here's another one that's got a bunch of buildup behind it. But I believe that's just the buildup from where those roots have been holding all the debris back, and it's building up. We're good up to that point. I think that's where the cast iron ends, is about 23 feet, and then you have a bunch of the clay because we're already back out of the pipe. So even though we weren't able to run water, we could see obviously well enough, and there was some water sitting in the pipe, obviously due to the fact that there was some root intrusion that had been holding some water back and some debris. So my suggestion here is a cleaning to remove a thorough cleaning to remove the roots, and a reinspection mainly to check that 23-foot mark, but anything that may be hidden by the root intrusion, make sure there's no structural issues in that area, and then from there, I'd say a chemical treatment once a year should keep the roots down, but then I always recommend another inspection after 5 or 6 years of doing those chemical treatments, just so you can check how well the maintenance is handling it, and see if you need to adjust the schedule in any way, either more frequently or less frequently. Should give you an idea of how quickly the roots are growing in. But chemicals will probably do a pretty good job after the initial cleaning, just because of how short the line is. There's only probably 20 feet of pipe of 20 to 25 feet of clay pipe that's getting root intrusion, and so hopefully that the chemicals, since you don't have 200 feet of pipe, should be able to get through there and catch on those roots to burn them back and keep them from growing closed. But other than that, you have cast iron, and with the roots, either way, you never want to use any kind of wet wipes or anything like that. No paper towels, just basically nothing but toilet paper and natural materials, we'll say, which goes for any sewer line, but it's a little more important for a situation like this because you have cast iron, which is very rough on the inside, and it can catch. And then you also, with the roots, if they are growing back at some point, toilet paper will catch, but it'll disintegrate in the water like it's designed to do. The wet wipes, even if they say flushable, do not deteriorate the way that other things are. The sewer lines aren't designed for those things, and so they can catch, things can back up behind them, and then you can have a backup onto the floor here. So again, structurally overall it looks good, but I can't tell behind that. My biggest concern would be that 23-foot mark, the largest, the heaviest root intrusion, and then a little bit of future maintenance, and you should be good to go. So that's going to end the inspection at 40 Anderson Street in Dayton, Ohio.